everyone, welcome back. I'm Carrie and this is Keep It Simple DIY. Today I'm going to be talking about the 5 things that I think you should be making at home to save yourself a ton of money. So let's get right into it. The very first thing I'm going to talk about is broth or stock. You make any type of broth or stock. You make it out of fish, pork, beef, chicken, vegetables, you name it. You can make stock at home for a fraction of the cost. Now at my local store, it's about $1.50 per quart to buy a quart of stock. The can's even more expensive, but if you're going with a quart, $1.50. That would be the same as 75 cents for this jar of broth. And this broth didn't cost me anything. I used bones that I already had from pork roast that I used to make sausage out of. I'm actually going to be doing that probably today again. And then I'll freeze the bones for the next time I need pork stock. But this was free. All I had to do was add water and let it simmer for a day or so and it was free. It did cost me the cost of the lid because I chose to can it. But if you have other items in your house that you could store it in and freeze it, by all means do that. Free. Save yourself $1.50 per quart. The next item you should 100% make from home is cream of something soup. Cream of anything soup. Cream of vegetable soup, cream of chicken soup, cream of mushroom soup. The little condensed cream of soups at the store I saw were about $1.50 each. To make them, it's really simple, just takes a little bit of time. You'll need 3 tablespoons of butter, melt that, add 3 tablespoons of flour, mix that together, cook it for about a minute or so, get that raw flour taste out of it, and then you can alternate milk and stock, whatever kind of stock you're using. So if I wanted to do cream of pork, I could use this pork stock. Cream of vegetable, use vegetable stock. You do a little bit of stock, mix, a little bit of milk, mix, a little bit of stock, mix, milk, mix, same thing until you get to the consistency that you want. At that point, add any salt and pepper or other seasonings that you would prefer to have. And then you can add any add-ins if you want any. For example, cream of celery would have little celery pieces, cream of mushroom would have little mushroom pieces. Totally optional, but if you want to, you could add those in. The cost of butter is probably your highest cost, but we're only using about 3 tablespoons, and then the cost of your broth, if you've made it at home, is free. So with the cost of the butter, flour, broth, and milk, you could be spending only 50 cents instead of $1.50 for that same size that you'd get at the store. That is 66% savings. And then if you have not seen it, I made mini pizzas. I make mini pizzas all the time. I make them small so that they'll fit in the air fryer. And when you make them at home, you save a ton of money. I will leave the video below where I calculated for a regular pepperoni pizza how much it would save you to make them at home. But the gist is, you save 50% if you make mini pizzas at home. It ends up being not quite 50% if you make larger size pizzas, but if you're making these mini ones, 50% to make it from scratch at home. And they're delicious, better for you, they don't have all the preservatives, you get to control the ingredients that go into it, and you get to control the ingredients that go into it. I know I said that, but not so much of I don't want all the artificial flavors, but like I want olives on my pizza. For some reason, I have not seen a pepperoni and olive pizza in the store. So, you know, make them myself and I can add olives. The next item to make on your own is more of a category, and I'm going to say breakfast items. Specifically, breakfast items like what you would see in the freezer aisle at the store. A package of pancakes in the store is about $5. Likewise, you could buy the box pancake mix for $3.50, or you can make them yourself for 50 cents. Of course, you have to have all the items for it, and I'm actually only calculating the portion of the items that went into the item. Does that make sense? Like, let's say this took 1 egg. I'm not counting the whole carton of eggs. I'm only counting the cost of the 1 egg to get to the total price. So there is going to be some leftovers that you have to use for other meals, but for the ingredients that actually went into the item, you're saving so much money. Another example is the hot commodity of eggs that we just talked about, but they have come down in price now, and the average that I'm seeing for about a dozen is $3. And while for a minute there, buying pre-boiled eggs was cheaper, right now I'm seeing them about $3.19 for 6 eggs. So it's actually more expensive to get the boiled eggs, and you only get half as much. So boiling on your own saves you over 50%. The story goes on for any type of breakfast item that you could make. Look in the freezer section, see what there are. You can make it a lot cheaper than you can buy it pre-made. The last category that I want to talk about is freezer meals. Ready to eat meals, whether they are individually portioned or larger portions that you can put in the oven for your whole family. These are so much cheaper to make them on your own than to buy them. So this here is pumpkin curry. This is just one example of the things that I have in my freezer. I have made a ton of freezer meal videos. If you'd like to check out the playlist, I will have it linked up above. Now, this isn't the specific freezer meal that I'm talking about, but one that I want to bring up that I think is just very universal and easy to understand is lasagna. It is the one that everybody seems to have or have made at least once in the store. A family-sized lasagna is $15. Like, what? $15 for a lasagna? You can make that as well as all of the other items we've talked about today for under half that amount. I mean, realistically, what's in lasagna that's so expensive? It's noodles. Noodles are cheap. It's a sauce. It's just a bottle of sauce, you know, $3, $3.50, $4, depending on the sauce you get. I mean, you could buy the most expensive sauce or the cheapest sauce and be somewhere outside of that range. But after that, I mean, you've just got the next filling, whether you choose to do a ricotta or choose to have bechamel or whatever else in the middle. I mean, it's just not that much. Getting up there, I mean, I couldn't see spending more than like $8 on getting a whole big plate the size of like the Stouffer's family sized one. So save 50%, make it yourself, put it in the freezer so that way on the days that you feel like you just can't get to cooking, you have something ready to go. So I know I just alluded to saving yourself time and being able to have convenient meals. That's not necessarily what the whole point of this was. The point was to save money, but if you prep these things ahead of time, you save yourself time later on as well. Those are the 5 types of food that I would start with making at home from scratch if you're new to this, because those are where the biggest bang for your buck are. And especially if you're wanting to cut down your grocery bill, this is one thing that I would definitely recommend you do. Do you have any foods that you make at home that save you a ton of money? If so, leave them down below. I'm very excited to see what foods you make from scratch from home because maybe I can make them too. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here and haven't yet, please subscribe. I'd love to see you. I will pop a few videos up at the end of this one if you'd like to stick around, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.